This is the second last session of the day. I am the last session after this one. This is a fireside chat. We don't have a fire, so we're going to have the chat piece. This is called What's Next in Payments and Checkout. It's going to be led by Travis Hess. You know, Travis, you met Travis earlier. President of BigCommmerce, great speaker. Travis leads BigCommmerce's global strategic expansion. He was also recognized as one of the 30 most influential in e-commerce by Signified. Heady stuff. Please give a warm welcome to Travis and his guest, who I happen to know is Mike Sutter.
All right. I'm joined by Mike Sutter, the SVP and head of checkout at PayPal. Mike's been the SVP and GM of checkout at PayPal and is a payment industry veteran for 20 years of experience. He's responsible for the end-to-end strategy and the roadmap execution of PayPal's checkout solutions. Prior to PayPal, he came from Expedia, where he was the VP of product management, leading the development of a new checkout experience and commerce platform to power Expedia's brand portfolio and B2B partners. Welcome, Mike. Impressive.
Thank you. Thank you.
You haven't been there that long, right? Been about a year and a half at PayPal. Can you share a little bit about your career prior and why you decided to join the company?
Sure. I had the classic start to product management. I started as an accountant, actually. I know it's a pretty common path. No, I grew up in a small business, so being a part of every part of the business and working directly with the customer was always key. And so I started my shift to technology, really focusing on back office systems when I was at HomeAway and Vrbo. We then needed to make a pivot into a marketplace model. So I focused on, building out the financial tech to support that transition and global expansion. And then that role then expanded to include, the full checkout experience and all the fintech supporting Expedia's portfolio. And so what really interested me about PayPal was, one, the size of the network and the assets of PayPal. We have 30 million merchants. We have over 400 million consumers. The opportunity to work with that data to really reimagine the commerce experience for consumers and really help merchants grow their business was what really attracted me to PayPal. And I'm even more excited today than I was when I started.
Yeah, I bet. Quite a career. And now, at PayPal, where you're seeing across the entire payment ecosystem, what are some of the larger trends you're seeing in the industry today?
I guess I have to get the AI part of it out immediately because that's kind of, the standard here. But I would say AI is really impacting every aspect of most businesses. And in fact, even personally, my seventh grader had a friend over last week, and we overheard her friend ask her, "What do you do when you can't figure out a math problem?" And she just kind of laughed and said, "I just ask Alexa and she tells me the answer." So I thought that was pretty interesting. And then as you think about commerce businesses, you see every aspect of, how can you personalize the shopping experience? How can you really push the consumer through checkout really quickly? That's all a key focus. And AI is really helping with that. I think on the customer support side, you also see it becoming more and more common as a tool to really help consumers or customers solve their problems. And then the fraud space as well. And so that kind of leads me to the second big area of focus that you see is that, fraud is a major challenge. I think cybercrime globally in 2023 totaled about $8 trillion. It's projected to increase to almost $13 trillion in the next 3 years. If you put that in GDP terms, that would be the third largest economy after the US and China. So I think both the emergence of bad actors leveraging the technology and the emergence of the technology to combat the bad actors, I think is a major theme that we see. I think the other aspect is, the macro environment has definitely been shifting. So on the good side, we start to see, inflation is starting to abate. You see, the Fed has basically signaled that they're going to start reducing rates, but the other side of that coin is some of that is due to we're starting to see, some softening in consumer spending. You're seeing that reported by in the travel space and in other industries, and so there's two sides of that. And I think ultimately what that means for companies is they're all looking at how do we make more out of the resources? How do we drive more impact based on the resources we have? And checkout is really a key place where many companies go to drive incremental conversion, really also solidify that first purchase with the consumer, and then start to build the relationship for there. So those are probably the three big areas we see a lot of focus in most of our conversations with merchants.
Gotcha. We've heard, myself this morning, Brent, several others talking about speed and agility never being more important than ever for brands and retailers to be able to keep up with the competition and differentiate and thrive. Earlier this year, you guys announced, a variety of new initiatives. Can you share some of the details around those?
Sure.
For the broader group?
So our new CEO announced at the beginning of the year that we really embarked on a new mission to revolutionize commerce. And from a PayPal perspective, what that really meant was how do we expand the value proposition within checkout and that critical step of the journey, and also expand our value proposition beyond that and helping consumers and merchants at every stage. And so one of the key areas we've really been focused on is rebuilding the new PayPal wallet checkout experience. And so in doing so, we rebuilt it on a new technology stack that really reduces latency by more than 50%. So again, it gets back to that need for making it quick and convenient for consumers. We also focus very heavily on the authentication step. So we're really looking at how do you accelerate that transition to a fully passwordless world where people are using their biometrics to log in, and we see opportunities to really create both the convenience but also the incremental security that comes with that. And then the pay sheet design itself is really focused around how do you maximize those quick one-click checkout experiences. But if a consumer wants to potentially pay in installments, we wanted to make the opportunity to pay over time more easily discoverable within the experience itself. And really, all of that was meant to really drive a faster, more convenient checkout experience. Then as we looked at the new PayPal app, we've talked about smart receipts, we've talked about package tracking of, how can we use package tracking to give consumers confidence that their package is going to show up. It also gives us an opportunity to engage with them and start to introduce, new products and cashback offers that maybe help them think about making that next purchase. And then the app itself was really rebuilt around the idea of making it overall the most rewarding experience. And so that's been our real focus on the PayPal wallet side. And then we do know that there are consumers, not sure why they choose to, but they choose to bypass the yellow button and go straight into checkout. And so we wanted to make sure in those instances we could be there to help them complete the transaction. And what we're seeing is that's often a choice made when speed is really the job. And so what we really focused on Fastlane is how do you speed a user through that experience and make it such that they opt in, they save their information one time, and they get the benefit across the whole network anywhere that Fastlane is accepted.
Yeah, let's talk about Fastlane a bit more because it's a big deal to you guys, a huge deal to us as well. We were thrilled to be the first commerce platform to integrate Fastlane, and it's such a great example of how we're innovating together as partners. Obviously, you guys have been one of the most important partners to us, and how our partners maximize revenue and drive growth. Can you go into a bit more detail about how Fastlane works and why this is really disrupting and changing the industry a bit?
Yeah, I think on the partnership side, one thing I would say is it's been really great to work with the BigCommerce team. We've been working very closely with your team from every aspect of how we design the product to really early testing with merchants and then ultimately helping us to refine it and get it to where it is today. When we set out to build Fastlane, there were really two primary objectives. The first objective is we wanted it to be the fastest, highest converting checkout in e-commerce. That was really the mission that we set out. And then in addition to that, we wanted to make sure it was very easy for our merchants to adopt it. And so we wanted to work with partners like BigCummerce platforms that could really enable that with essentially a click and a download. And then also for merchants who may integrate directly to our payments platforms, we could enable basically the Fastlane experience in 2 to 4 weeks. And so that's really was core to the value proposition. If you think about it from the experience that a consumer goes through, the first time they interact with Fastlane, they're going to go through the standard guest checkout. They're going to enter all of that information, and then we simply ask them if they want to save that information for reuse later. And I would say, like, we're really excited about the level of opt-in that we see, because it's just an incredible value proposition. You know, a lot of consumers today they're starting to push back around more passwords, more accounts to manage. And so on the merchant side, what we really wanted to be able to deliver is we can streamline that experience and give the consumer that first sale. And then you as a merchant get the benefits as if they had a store account and the ability to continue to build the relationship with them thereafter. And, you know, we see it as if after that point they decide to create a store account with a merchant and build their relationship from there, from our perspective, that's a huge win. And then if they choose not to log in the next time and they come through the flow and guests, we just want to make it an easy process for them. That's really the main focus of the product.
Yeah, no, we're thrilled to take that to market with you guys. You should be proud. Last question. Where do you see the industry evolving to in the next several years, and where are you guys investing resources, placing your bets, hedging towards in your mind?
Yeah, I think what consumers are increasingly expecting is a personalized experience. And so when we do research with consumers, that usually focuses in kind of 3 primary areas. Number one, they want to know that you know who they are, right? And I think in many instances, everybody gets the same experience when they shop online, particularly. And consumers really want to feel like you know who they are and that you also understand their needs. So you understand what's going to be relevant for them. And so I think that's important both in the shopping experience, and it's also incredibly important in checkout. And then as they get to, through the shopping experience and checkout, one of the key elements most consumers are looking for is how do you maximize the value that they get in that particular transaction. So again, it's all about, you know who I am, you understand my needs, and you can help me get the most value. And value, of course, in the current time frame where I would say spending is softened, is becoming more and more of a focus. And so those are definitely areas of focus for us. We're also watching pretty closely like what's happening in the AI space. You see lots of companies experimenting with ways to integrate AI into everything they're doing. And so we're definitely following that closely and again, looking for those opportunities where we can provide a more personalized, a more intelligent experience for the consumer.
Gotcha, good stuff, man. Listen, I want to thank Mike on behalf of all of BigCummerce. Obviously, yourself, PayPal, you guys have been amazing partners, continue to be a material partner to us going forward. I want to thank the audience. I think we flashed a QR code. We did. Great. Yeah. Scan the QR code. Schedule a payment consult. Certainly, we've got folks on both sides that can help facilitate that. But Mike, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Cheers.